Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy episode 471 for the week of October 13th, 2020. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here with me this week?
Brock Sicker.
Kevin.
And Charlie.
Hold on. I have to take a split from my dog. Talk for a second.
So apparently we're having a podcast this week, and there's topics that we're going to be discussing, and we're going to go over a few things. We're going to dive back into sales charts for the Hub this week because we didn't do it last week. So what? I hope you're prepared for that.
No.
Sorry, my little puppy was eating something I wasn't supposed to be eating. What's happening? Were we talking about the Hub? I heard the Hub. Hashtag love the Hub.
We're doing the Hub numbers.
We do. We got Hub numbers.
And
talk about that.
And Kevin was voicing his disappointment.
He doesn't want Hub numbers, or he does want Hub numbers?
Oh, he does want Hub numbers.
Wait, Kevin?
Yeah.
Kevin's not here.
Oh, Kevin's not here? Are you sure?
Kevin?
Yes.
Yep, Kevin's not here.
I am.
Nobody here but us chickens. So that would be Toby.
I'm definitely here.
We are going to talk about some sales charts. We just did sales charts.
We did that last week. I already escaped that one.
And we did sales charts, but now we have ComicHub sales charts for comic books actually sold.
No, the problem, Toby, is Ryan has figured out a way to have multiple sales charts every month.
Now you can do it twice.
He's just figured out a way to maximize it.
Oh,
Maximum sales chart.
Pretty soon we're going
to have all sales charts. And then,
no!
And then every week.
Your own podcast for that. Call it Sales Chart.
Sales Chart Podcast.
Yeah.
These are for the 5 weeks from August 30th through October 3rd. So this is the comic book sold basically through the month of September. It's through that Monday, through the last week of September, because it goes on like just a full week. This is actually comics sold to customers. This is not sales charts like the Diamond stuff with the incentives and all these crazy covers and discounts and blah 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 blah. This is actually comic books sold to customers through ComicHub. This all comes through ICV2 and ComicHub. So should we do the guessing game with this one? Oh, no, let's do the guessing game with the. Maybe we just do that with the.
You said no more guessing game.
No, you can still do the guessing game. It's okay. But there was one thing that I wanted to bring up on the sales chart specifically, because this shows the difference between the original Diamond sales, which are the stores and go by month, and there's actually sales to customers. I'm going to go 10-1, but about halfway through, we'll get to the thing that I wanted to talk about here. So number 10 book sold of the month, Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis. Number 9, Iron Man number 1. I'm surprised they were a big Iron Man relaunch. Number 8, Thor number 7. Now, I'll be curious about 8, 9, and 10 on Thor, because I know our sales on number 7 took a huge shit. Because I think the speculation and the hype is, not that it's off, but it's still a good selling book. But it's like the crazy numbers just died with issue number 7. So we'll see where Thor is in the next few issues.
If the crazy numbers died on number 7 for you, then it wouldn't be on this list because this is sold to customers.
Right.
So but the sale through is still.
It's still selling well. It's still one of Marvel's best-selling books, right? But I think it would have been higher. I think Thor would have been higher on sales charts because I think those numbers would have been up even more. So we'll see. We'll see where Thor is over the next couple of months. Number 7, X-Men number 12, which is the X of Swords Prelude issue. Number 6, X of Swords Creation number 1. That's the one shot that starts off the whole thing. Now, number 5 book of the month. Remember, this is sales in September. The number 5 book of the month is Batman 3 Jokers number 1. More copies of Batman 3 Jokers number 1, which came out in August, were sold in September than X of Sword Creation, X-Men 12, Thor 7, Iron Man 1. That is bananas. That is, it was the number 1 book in August, sales-wise, and that was the number 5 book in September. That is crazy.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, see? And that's why these sales charts are very different from the Diamond ones, because you get actual long-term sales history here. I don't think there's anything in the rest of this top list that would fit that same. They're all just books that came out that month, as far as I can tell. Of course, going up the list, number 5 is 4 is Batman 99. Number 3 is Detective Comics 1027. Of course, we did our special anniversary issue. I don't know if those count in that. I don't think it does. I don't think like our store cover counts for that.
Well, that was my question on these charts. Is that including all covers?
Yeah, it's all covers merged together.
Okay, it's all covers merged together. But wouldn't they still include store variants because you would have that data, or no?
Yeah, but I think those are pulled out as far as I know because it's not connected to the actual Detective 1027 like item in ComicHub. It's a separate thing. So I don't think those numbers shouldn't be connected because it was not available to every store. It's only available to our store, and those numbers aren't pulled. Number 2 is Batman 98, and of course, number 1 is Batman 3 Jokers. Number 2, now of course, Batman 3 Jokers number 2 came out September 30th, and this goes through October 3rd, so through the end of that week. So with only 4 days of sales, Batman 3 Jokers number 2 is the number 1 book of the month. I would expect 1 and 2 will both be on the top 20 list next month. Maybe. Could. Number 1 might be. And then number 3 will also take the number 1 spot. I'd say that's all but a given when we get to next month's. Books, good to see Detective 1027 up there with all his variant covers at a $10 book. That is, of course, the number 1 book by dollar amount of the month. We also got some graphic novels. Again, these are trade paperbacks sold to customers in the month of October. Number 10 is The Boys Omnibus Volume 1. Boys is still kicking, man. Still kicking.
Yeah,
So good on that.
I sold one this weekend.
Number 9 is Monsters Volume 5, and that I'm actually surprised that's not a little bit higher. That's fairly new, or maybe that came out that might have come out the very last week.
That
might only be a couple days of sales.
Yeah, this one is funny because we had a customer come in and they pulled 4 and 5, thinking that they missed 4 because of the pandemic.
So that shipped like right.
I think it was
start,
like right around the start,
or right before.
Yeah, so it's like. So I think there might be a little confusion as to is it out, or people might haven't even gotten 4 yet, so they're not 2.5.
Yeah,
because I know trade sales on Monstrous are really good.
Oh yeah, that's one of our best-selling trades. Number 8 is the pulp hardcovers, Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips, original graphic novel. 7, Batman Curse of the White Knight hardcover. Number 6 is the new Immortal Hulk Volume 7. Number 5 is the Teen Titans Beast Boy original. Like tween graphic novel. Number 4 is Deadpool Volume 1, Dead Presidents Now. Now, the reason I'm almost positive this is on the list is because Marvel had a ridiculous clearance sale. So this might actually be a case where a couple stores went deep on those books. And because that's years ago. I'm pretty sure that's on there because that's probably not because of dollar amount. That's probably there because of
that was the Dugan one?
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
The Dugan run? Okay.
Yeah. Number 3, Slaughterhouse 5, the original, the adaptation graphic novel from Boom Studios. Number 2 is Old Guard Book 2 from Image. And number 1, Dogman Volume 9. So Dogman, the actual sales. And, again, if you were looking at the Diamond chart, Dogman Volume 9 probably was not on that top 10 list. But being actual sales to customers, and ComicHub does pull from places outside of Diamond. Dogman Volume 9 is the number 1 selling trade paperback of September 2020. So, and
this is all by quantity. Do you by any chance have a list by dollar amount? I'm just curious.
Number 1 book by dollar amount is the House and Powers hardcover. Yeah. Still the number 1 book just because of the price point. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, if you go by price point, Absolute Carnage, the Guardians of the Galaxy by Amnet and Lanning omnibus hardcover, and the Wolverine omnibus hardcover both pop into the top 20 because those are $100 books.
Yeah.
So, although the Amnet and Lanning
no, that's
old.
That's
right?
been out a while.
Yeah. I wonder if that was on one of their clearance sales and I just didn't see it. That's all I can say.
I know it has been in the past.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All pretty usual suspects. Good sales. I do like these ComicHub sales just because we actually get to see what customers are buying, and these feel, at least on the comic end, the book end, I'd have to look at my numbers, but the comic end, they feel correct. Iron Man 1 is too high. A lot of these books below Iron Man 1, we sold more than Iron Man number 1. But the rest of those, especially the Batman stuff and X of Swords, Thor, that all seems right.
That's okay. My favorite part is now just going to be the dollar amount by trade.
But yeah,
so I can hear all the omnibuses and stuff in the list.
Bump those death. I mean, no surprise. Our top 10 is probably pretty solid DC, but bump those Dark Knights, Death Metal one shots up. I'm sure I sold more of those than X-Men 12 and X of Swords. But yeah, definitely Speed Metal and Trinity Crisis. Yeah, we definitely did. Good sales all around. Good books. Top indie book in the top 10 is number 13. We only find them when they're dead. Number 1. So
that's the really good. Like, people need to check that one out. It's really good.
Yeah. Only book in the top 20.
So Image doesn't factor into indie anymore?
It would, but there's no Image title in the top 20. We only get the top 20 numbers.
Oh, you mean the top 20 single issues? I was still thinking trades and stuff.
No. Trades, Image has multiple titles.
Yeah.
So
that's why you confused me for a moment.
Nope. Lots of good stuff. Let's move on. Let's move on to some let's do this one first, because this got announced today. The most shocking news of 2020, of late 2020.
Really?
The LA Comic-Con is not happening in December. Like, weeks ago, LA Comic-Con's like, we're totally happening. Buy tickets now. And everyone's like, huh? Really? You are? No, you're not. No, there was never a minute they were. So I don't know. Maybe they just conned the money out of people. I have no idea why they decided to even try. I don't know. Tom Welling is going to be there in 2021. They're moving it to 2021. There was apparently an exclusive Funko Pop already planned featuring Kevin Smith as Silent Bob.
That's coming out on Amazon.
Yeah, and they're going to ship it out to people. So if you had one pre-ordered. So yes, sorry, LA Comic-Con, not happening.
Wah wah wah.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. There was zero chance of that happening. Let's talk about other stuff not happening this year. And that is definitely Wonder Woman, because Patty Jenkins says Wonder Woman going direct to streaming or video on demand is quote unquote not even being discussed. So long 2020, so long Wonder Woman. You're not coming out this year. It still has that December 25th release date, but again, 0% chance of that happening now. So summer 2021, I would guess Wonder Woman's going to happen. What are you going to do? We'll get some.
Is Patty Jenkins and Gal doing Cleopatra together now?
That's a weird one. Yeah, I hadn't even heard of that.
Perfect sense. I mean, come on.
I guess no one had heard of it. So.
And Patty's a great director. That's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I just didn't know that they were doing a new Cleopatra movie, but I guess no one did because they just announced it. So yeah, that could be cool though.
I think it's going to be very cool.
I guess don't look for Wonder Woman 3 anytime soon. Shit, 'cause, man, they filmed this movie so long ago. They probably could have filmed an entire third one in the time things have been delayed. So,
I remember there being a little bit of news before everything shut down that, like, Patty Jenkins went on the record of saying that she regretted delaying the movie as it was, because it had been pushed back, even though it was already done.
Yeah.
And I'm sure now, especially, it's just like if we had just stuck with that original.
Yeah, it would have been out like a year ago. Well, what are you gonna do? Sure, September will be or May, June, July-ish, depending on how things go. Looks like that'll be a nice summer movie. We don't have time.
Get like enormous amount of movies next year. It's going to be like 2 blockbusters in the same weekend.
Yeah, constantly.
Yeah,
constantly. So I think you're going to see a lot of blockbusters, but I think it's interesting how much stuff they haven't held back on going to digital or going to different streaming services and that kind of stuff. So I am very curious, other than some of the like well-known blockbusters like Wonder Woman and Black Widow and Bond and stuff, like how many other movies are actually sitting in the can right now? I don't have a good sense of, is it 10 movies are being delayed? Is it 20 movies? Is it 50 movies? Like, I don't.
I saw a list of movies still scheduled to come out in theaters this year, but most people assume they're all small movies. Like all the big stuff's been pushed way back.
Yeah.
But there was a handful of smaller movies still scheduled. But yeah, I would guess 40 between big and small have all been moved out of this year. And you have to think about things like Eternals and stuff that was like way far out when this first started.
This is like for me where I'm curious. Because everything got delayed even in terms of filming and that kind of stuff, like a lot of stuff is delayed in going into production and that kind of stuff. So that stuff being pushed out another year or something isn't really a big deal. So it's really a question of how much stuff is ready to be released to go into theaters while new stuff is being made. And that's where I'm just not sure, because there's a lot of movies I was seeing trailers for that either went direct to digital for like purchase or direct to like a streaming service just as an offering. So I don't know. It's one of those things that I don't think we have an entire movie season that's sitting in the can somewhere waiting to be released. I think a good percentage of it has been pulled out already.
Well, couldn't they potentially go limited release for some of those things that have come out?
Well, that's true.
And kind of
they might do
like
some
fill
sort
some
of
space or something.
Yeah, no, that's true. I'm sure they will do some limited release. I also think you'll see longer times in theaters for some stuff, which is nice, because I don't think they'll be churning over at the rate that they used to for a while.
Yeah, no, and I remember when we had like three blockbusters in 1 month a couple years ago, and it was like, oh my god, I felt like I was at the movie theater every week. I don't want to feel like that when we go back to the theaters. You know what I mean? I mean,
the idea of going back to the theaters for me is like the farthest thing from my mind at the moment. So like, even if Wonder Woman was released today, I wouldn't be at the theater watching it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, as of Thursday, Toby, you're going to have your chance. As of Thursday, I believe it's Thursday, Santa Clara County is going to move into the next phase. So I believe that's 25% capacity movie theaters.
Fuck no.
Can you get your bubble?
No, well, only if I have my Bubble Boy suit. Otherwise, nope.
Yeah. And I mean, for me,
I'm still
that's
planning
the thing.
Tenet, though, for drive-in.
Yeah.
And New Mutants.
Well, New Mutants is out in video, like in a couple weeks.
Well, I'm going to watch it in a drive-through.
I guess everything's on drive-through still, right?
It's cool. I mean, they had a bunch of old movies and Tenet.
Well, there's a report too that AMC could be on the verge of bankruptcy. So movie theaters in general, we may not be seeing anything in the movie theaters in 2021 or 2022. Who knows? But it could also be the greatest 18 months in movie history, because people are so pent up and everyone goes back to see everything and they just go constantly. I don't know. Or maybe this is the death knell and people are just like, fuck it, I'm not going back. I don't care. I'm done. One or either way. But we got one last. Well, it's a light news week. Not done talking about. We've got a couple questions. It'll be a nice short podcast. We do have some news. We got some info on the Green Lantern TV series. This comes direct from DC Comics. Fully greenlit.
No pun intended.
Greenlit. Oh, hey. Here we go. I'm going to skim over the entire press release here and hit the important parts. It has been given official series order for 10 one-hour episodes. And they, of course, are not revealing any details. However, they have a list of Green Lanterns that will be included in the show, including Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz,
nice.
Sinestro, Kilowog, and Alan Scott. Now, of course, there are two characters missing from that list: Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, but and also Kyle Rayner too. But at least John and Hal, they are supposed to be the ones in the movie, so it would make sense if they're not in the show.
Well, do you think it'd be better for them to do like a Green Lantern? This would be the Green Lantern Corps versus on the TV show versus.
It's always going to be Green Lantern Corps, yeah, of course. It's a bunch
but like
of
calling it just Green Lantern. Do you think it'd be better if they shifted it to calling it the team?
The movie is Green Lantern Corps, all right?
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. Okay.
So it's Green Lantern will depict the adventures of a multitude of lanterns. So it'll include blah, 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 and new heroes to the rank of the Green Lantern Corps. Is from executive producer and writers Seth Grahame-Smith as the showrunner and Mark Guggenheim, along with Greg Berlanti, Jeff Johns, Sarah Shedder, and David Madden as executive producers. So it's weird. I swear when I first saw this press release, Jeff Johns' name was not on the list. One of my friends was like, hey, why is Johns' name not on this list? Then when I went back, it was. I wonder either we both completely missed it or they went back and actually updated it. Like they had accidentally left his name off. I don't know. That's very strange. But when I looked at this press release, I did not see Jeff Johns' name on it. So maybe
it was a press release that they were working on and released it too early.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. He mentioned it. He goes, hey, they released stuff on Green Lantern, but Jeff Johns isn't involved. And I was like, of course he is. And I went and looked and I said, oh, shit, he's not? But then when I went back, it was. So I must have just looked right past it. Yeah.
So as much as I hope he is involved in everything, there is, he is supposed to be working on the movie, and I can understand why, if they're not going to link the movie to the series at all, where there may have been some confusion one way or another on whether or not he should have a production credit on this.
Maybe. But he's executive producer.
Yeah, it's the executive producer, so it's more of it's a title versus doing.
Well, honestly, this is one of those things that I'm always kind of curious about, especially in terms of some of the agreements, is when Jeff Johns went off to do his own production company, but the stuff he put into production prior to that when he was the chief creative officer, I'm curious to see if his name will remain as a production credit. I'm assuming it will on all the Arrowverse shows and all these other properties that he kind of helped get off the ground originally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, from that perspective, if this has any links to the other television properties that they've played with and looked at. Maybe he gets a production credit by default.
I don't know.
I don't know. This kind of stuff, I'm always curious.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty involved with it, I think, either way. So, where was I? Graham Smith may not be. Seth Graham Smith, the showrunner, wrote or co-wrote the Lego Batman movie, along with Dark Shadows, the Tim Burton one. He's also the guy that wrote the novels Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter, and Unholy Night. Okay,
I know he's written books. Those things,
but those things are dumb.
Do you know how popular a lot of those books are to like a generation of readers that's younger than you?
Popular doesn't mean good. Put it right next to the Shakespearean Star Wars novels, and it's just bad. So yeah, there you go. So direct to HBO Max. No specific time frame here in the press release, or shooting, or casting, or any of that stuff. However, we did get some nice promo artwork, and I am totally down. Green Lantern show, of course, I'm down, but yeah, that's about what I figured. I would love. Oh man, and they show Sinestro in the promo art. They have Sinestro in the Green Lantern costume, so that is right up my alley. I am all down with.
Is this live action or animated?
No, what the fuck? No, it's live action.
So is Mark Strong going to be Sinestro?
I I doubt it, but that would be fantastic. I have no problem with that.
It'd be kind of weird, though.
What's that?
It'd be kind of weird with what he's currently cast in the DC universe.
Sure. Yeah, I would expect it will not be Mark Strong, but maybe they'll bring him into the movies or something. I don't know. Yeah. So it's funny. There actually was another thing I was going to talk about because I saw the headline. I don't remember I saw it on some other site, and I went. It was like CBR or something, and I went, what? And I was like, where did they get this from? And I looked back. It was an announcement that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire had signed on to be in Spider-Man 3, and I was like,
"Yeah, I saw something, but I didn't investigate it."
Well, I was like, "How is this not like the biggest fucking news story in the world right now?" And then I was like, "Wait, this is from some random ass site." And I looked in that. I'm like, "Oh, you people just made this up." Why the fuck do people report on this stuff? I hate it. I mean, I know here we are reporting on it, but like, it was like, God, what does it say? It was called like fandom something, fandom con. No, it was like get fandom, and they even put out.
We got this covered, renamed. It's cosmicbook.com, renamed to a new site.
Is it really?
No, I was just figured out that on to them, so now they renamed their site.
No. Every now and again, someone will post an article by them, and I'm like, oh god, guys, what are you doing? But they even posted. They had this little infographic that they posted after they posted the Spider-Man thing, and they're like, remember, here's all the other news stories that we broke through, and it's like, it's just like, no, seriously, you can believe us on this rumor. And the news stories that they posted were all these like, oh, we told you the length of the Candyman trailer or something, and I'm like, what the fuck? It's just the weird. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, I mean, you got to get those clicks somehow, man. You just, that's how you get it.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was just an effort to piggyback on the Jamie Foxx stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that Jamie Foxx rumor also comes from nowhere too. So I don't know.
Like legitimate nowhere.
I mean, I'll believe. I mean, that thing got thrown everywhere. I'll believe it when I see any of this. I'm sure Marvel's very happy with the critical success of Spider-Verse, but like, I can't imagine them doing like a full-on Spider-Man multiverse live action movie. I mean, maybe they want to just kind of beat DC to the punch a little bit, but like, Doctor Strange kind of makes sense because the multiverse of madness. So I get that, but like, that's Spider-Man. I mean, I guess there's been a lot of Spider characters, so maybe that's why they want to do it. Like,
in a lot of these reports, when they said that Jamie Foxx was going to was going to reprise Electro, I thought they just got it the wrong movie. I thought it was an announcement for the Spider-Verse sequel and not the Tom. That was initially my. They must have quoted the wrong movie.
Well, maybe that's what it is, right? It's like it's Spider-Man pops up and they go, "Oh, Spider-Man 3, it's gonna go Spider-Man," and the person's sitting there going, and they're already posting the thing, and they're like, "It was for the next Spider-Verse movie, not Spider-Man, whatever."
No, I mean, it again. God, I need to start doing this. Whenever these rumors pop up, I need to start making a list whenever I read them and hear them and get the source of it, and then follow up and like every now and again follow up on all these rumors to see what actually happened. Because I guarantee you, 90%, 95% do not happen or not. And it's not to say that something was going to happen and then didn't. Yeah. Right? There are elements, I'm sure, of 5G that have been rumored for DC that were real, but every fucking time someone links me to a Bleeding Cool article that's like, oh, well, this was going to happen, but it didn't. It's like, dude, bitch, how do you know? Like, you don't know this was going to happen. This is your rumor from like a year or a year and a half ago at this point. So it's so embarrassing. It's just embarrassing.
Ryan Higgins, comic book investigative journalist.
My investigation is I clicked the link. The link says we made this up. And I'm like, cool, okay. Like, it's not that much investigation. Yeah, I don't know.
You can give the real comic book news on the comics conspiracy.
I could tell you it's probably not real. You're not going to get real news here. You will get real news here. The boring stuff that's actual, not like, when something really big happens, but obviously we talk about it. But like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
It's not like it's not like it's running on the coattails of Michael Keaton in the Flash movie.
But that was announced by DC, right?
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing is, it's like real. That is real. People are buzzing behind it, right? So it's like, where can we apply that elsewhere?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the funny thing about Marvel wanting to do this big multiverse thing, I get it from like a movie point of view, and it's really fun. But Marvel's multiverse, Spider-Verse worked, but that's a new thing for Spider-Man. There's not like a history of multiverse stuff. You've had a couple big stories, usually X-Men related. But yeah, Marvel doesn't do the big multiverse thing. So,
they don't
it'd be fun, but what are you going to do? Other than Spider-Man and X-Men, you don't have a long history of TV shows and movies to draw from. DC does, and that's why I think it's worked so well for them with Crisis. And
Marvel doesn't have that stuff that sticks, right? Like Gotham by Gaslight, or
No, I meant the movies and TV shows. They don't. In the comics, they have Exiles. They have like the What If stuff if they want to draw from that.
Spider-Verse did well.
Yeah.
Spider-Mans that you could do a movie of, and then therefore rumor starts or wishful thinking starts, or people think it would be cool, so therefore rumor gets made. So.
Yeah, Spider-Man and X-Men are the only pre-Iron Man movies that would. And Blade, right? Blade would be the third one, and that's not multiple Batman, Superman. If there was 7 Captain America movies with multiple actors and 5 Thor movies, Lou Ferrigno was Hulk. Really, that could be the only other thing. There's just not. Marvel doesn't have the media. But that's not Batman or Superman, right? That's not multiple television shows. That's not multiple different actors playing these characters across 30, 40, 50 years. So, but no, hell, if they want to do a multiverse movie with Spider-Man, that could be super fun, like live action. Yeah.
Is that where you thought it was going to go at the end of Far From Home?
No, I never would have expected them to do this, but maybe they saw both the success of, Crisis, the success of Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So
I just don't want everything to hit at once. We already got the multiple Batmans and Flash. We had Crisis. We had Spider-Verse.
Well, it sounds like they're...
As much as people want to see a live-action Spider-Man movie, or like Spider-Verse style, I'm not. I might be too many multiverses for the normals all at once.
My question is, doesn't a live-action Spider-Man multiverse movie just take away from a Spider-Verse sequel? It's the same idea, right?
Yeah.
So why would they double up?
Instead of 10 Spider-Man toys, you could sell 50 Spider-Man toys. Or Spider-Man toys. Spider-Man toy for the 5-year-old. Spider-Man toy for the 50-year-old. Everything is covered, my friend.
Yeah, but
my only sort of thought on this really comes down to opportunity. It's the question of, can they make a better multi-Spider-Man movie now with sort of Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and the age they are now and stuff, rather than waiting another 15 years or 20. Like, I kind of feel like, to a degree, especially with like Michael Keaton Batman stuff, there's a rich history of like older Batman to sort of pull from, especially with like Batman Beyond and like that kind of thing. I don't necessarily think you need a old grizzled Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, this
Old man Peter.
yeah. So I kind of feel like from that perspective, if you're gonna do it, there's only so many years you could get away with it with the current living actors.
No. Now, could it be that instead of a Spider-Verse where they're bringing in different Spider-Men, could it be that they're doing the Sinister Six as from different multiverses?
Well, that's the kind of the Electro rumor. It's like,
Yeah.
well, one, we describe the characters we've already put in. Alfred Molina. Well, wait, Alfred Molina alive? Yeah, he's alive. For some reason, I thought Alfred Molina had died. I don't know why I thought that. But
I thought you were
imagine...
trying to
It's
remember if
2020.
Doc Ock died at the end of the movie or not, which he did.
Yeah. But like, I can't imagine they would like recast him. He's maybe. I mean, he's older, but I don't know. That was a long time ago. Anyway, yeah, Spider-Verse. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Fucking Spider-Man 3's years and years and years out. We got a couple questions on Patreon.
Couple.
Let's
Let's
these.
do this.
From Alex. He says, "What comic would you consider modern, and what comic would you consider postmodern? Can you have such a thing as a post-retro? Now, modern and postmodern are like art styles. Comics don't. I mean, all comics would be like post-retro, right? Isn't that the whole? A lot of them are kind of emulating that style. Something like Mike Allred would be like post-retro. I think that's how it feels to me.
I mean, well, the thing is like, so I think what it is it's more along the lines of we have the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and now we're in the modern age. But when does that age end? And when do we start calling? When do we start calling it something new?
Well, if you're looking at it from the existing comic ages, modern started in like
90s.
Like late 80s, early 90s. Yeah. I mean, I think he's talking more about the modern art and postmodern art styles, where something like postmodern art would be like what's his face? Geez, who am I thinking of? Andy Warhol, or where they took what's the
Campbell's Soup?
Shit, what's the guy that ripped off all the comic book stuff? Oh, it's killing me.
That ripped off all the comic book stuff.
Yeah. Why am I just not thinking of his name right now? Roy Lichtenstein. I mean, that's like postmodernism, and that Mike Allred sort of fits into that, but that's just because it's like he's emulating an older style. I should get Leanne down here for this conversation. I'm sure she'd correct all my mistakes. But I don't. Yeah, like I don't know. Post retro. I don't know if that would be a thing. Yeah, I don't know if that would be a thing. Yeah. Urban Dictionary describes post-retro as wearing something old, which was once considered retro, but has now just become old again. It's gone beyond retro to just old. So, yeah, sure. Let's take well, I see a lot of like kind of meme-ish and mimicking of like Golden Age artwork, but like done for comedic elements. That's almost like
they have perfected that Batman slapping Robin like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah, I think post-retro would just be bad. But I mean, yeah, like I don't know, comics don't really fit into that same. I mean, I'm sure there are some. I'm sure someone with a art background will.
I think you might find it more in like independent comics, but I think in the main two, you're going to kind of still get like a somewhat of a house style, unless it's based on a certain character.
Like Acme Novelty Library would probably be considered postmodern. I'm assuming people would consider that postmodern.
Archie?
No. What? No. Acme Novelty Library.
Library.
I believe that would. I mean, people would probably consider Chris Ware postmodern, but yeah, I'm not. I don't know enough stuff about. I'm not big on the postmodern stuff. All right, here's a Charlie question. Charlie and Toby question, you guys. This is for you. Tyler Willits wants to know, what collections are you still waiting for in that deluxe or omnibus treatment? I've been waiting forever to read the Priest run on Black Panther. He says, Comixology released the Black Panther comics when Chadwick Boseman passed. I'm reading that, and I'm just so surprised they haven't collected that in an omnibus form. They're finally doing Thunderbolts, which I'm excited about. I didn't know about that.
I knew.
Obviously, Starman is a big one. This sort of gets there. The original Suicide Squad is another one I'm waiting for. What's on your list?
I have to tell you that the Black Panther Priest run is in some very nicely done, I think, complete collections. So there is a way to read them, but I almost don't want it to come out on hardcover because then I'll just rebuy it. Therefore, I'm going to recommend reading the soft covers, if that makes sense. Or maybe that's not his question.
Oh, he just wants to know, what do you want in omnibus that's not out yet? It's too much. It's too much.
Oh,
I'd love Jimmy Palmiotti, Jonah Hex stuff in omnibus.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love some of the like Batman Beyond comics that they did, especially when they first started doing Batman Beyond comics for DC. There was a lot of good stuff in that stuff, so I'd love a nice omnibus of that. The Jonah Hex is very high on my list. There's kind of a Green Lantern deluxe or omnibus that I've had in my head for a while, where I really want them to collect all the Parallax stuff together. So sort of like when you get to Twilight and Fallout, and there was like a 2-issue series that also had Hal show up, and then you also have the Emerald Knights event that they did. Like there's a lot of appearances of Parallax between Hal's Fall from Grace before Rebirth. And you could even throw in stuff like Judgment Day and that kind of stuff in there to kind of complete that story. But I would love a omnibus that just sort of takes you from Hal Jordan's fall to Rebirth as much as you can without, like, you could even put the main 0 Hour event in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they have like the 0 Hour omnibus now. But that would be, if I could choose an omnibus for them to make, that would probably be my number one that I really like them to do.
Mine was Birds of Prey by Chuck Dixon, so I'm very, very boring as I just repeat all the same answers for the last 2 decades.
I have the soft covers, but a complete Bronze Age Nova omnibus with the Fantastic Four tie-in issues and Defenders and all that. That'd be like 30 issues. I think that'd be a good run. I think that'd be.
What I worry about that piece. Panther run is I if they do it, I want them to just release it in 2 volumes, not one, because they'll just be too big. But huge, I have to say though, the omnibuses that have been coming out have been solid. I'm like, Burn FF is out on omnibus, Burn Namor is out on omnibus. I mean, I would like to have a Gambit one day, but a majority of stuff that I really want has seen an omnibus form in some way or another. Maybe the Cap run from the early '90s, but I bought all of that in Epic, so I'm good there. So I mean, I'm really just waiting for them to finish, the Chuck Dixon stuff. But the Byrne Man of Steel is coming out at this point. I mean, they're covering a lot of ground at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty stoked with what's been coming out. Even the Gambit is out on trade, like in full complete editions. So there's not much ground to cover or stuff I missed. I'll tell you what though, if they release City Hunter on the manga on English, even though that's totally not PC for today, when Hell freezes over, that will happen. But no, I think they've been doing a really good job in slowly like collecting all these good runs into like omnibuses or even in Epic collections. But for Tyler, I mean the Byrne She-Hulk is now as a omnibus is out, and formerly it was 2 nice trade collections.
Mm-hmm.
There's a slot She-Hulk coming out soon, so I'm the second volume of New Warriors could come out. That would be nice. With the Thunderbolts, I'm worried about that they do 1 omnibus and that will be it, and they just don't continue it.
That's the one thing about omnibus collecting and absolute collecting and that kind of stuff. And we were talking a little bit about this earlier, pre-recording of the podcast, but it's like, I'm really glad that the Alan Moore Swamp Thing Volume 2's already coming out and like that kind of thing. But then like there's things like the Absolute Fourth World that had sort of a Volume 1 out, but no release date or info for like the Volume 2 to finish it out.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of cases with this stuff where the volume 1 was out years and years and years ago, and they finally solicited like a volume 2 this year, 4 or 5 years later, kind of thing.
And then the people who missed out on the first want a reprint, or that book becomes super expensive.
And I feel like that's one thing that Marvel does really, really well. Most of the time, if they're not keeping up with a series, if it's been a long time since the previous volumes come out, they will plan a series of reprints of the out-of-print volumes before putting out the new volume. Like we've seen that recently with the Uncanny X-Men omnibuses, where they have, as soon as they solicited the volume 4, or that information started coming out, they immediately had the volume 1, 2, 3 slated before it in terms of release dates and that stuff. So I think Marvel does a really good job of making sure that you don't have to jump into the volume 4 and then try and hunt down overpriced volumes 1 through 3 and such like that. But that's only when it's been a number of years since the last volume.
Yeah.
So like something you brought up Swamp Thing, Charlie. I want them to do a complete 52 Swamp Thing, but they've only done like a collection of the Snyder stuff that he wrote.
Well, but they did solicit the complete 52 Swamp Thing, but that means you have to rebuy the Snyder stuff to get the stuff after it in the omnibus, which is okay, but frustrating for somebody who bought the Snyder. But like, that's the funny part about some of this stuff is there are literally things where I'm like, if they re-release this, but do it in like a 2-volume slipcase that I can buy, I'll rebuy it in a heartbeat. Like,
yeah.
Like that's one thing
they
that
could have just done the Soul stuff at the end, and then, like you said, gave it a slipcase.
Yeah, but what I was specifically talking about with that is all the Stephen King Marvel omnibuses that came out as like 2-volume slipcases for like the Dark Tower and the Stand and that stuff. So I know they can do them. I don't understand why like the Walter Simonson Thor wasn't that way. Like, instead of having this one big massive book that's, I always have kind of worried about the binding because of the weight of sort of the content inside it and such. I would have much preferred that to be a volume 1 and a volume 2 separately, or if you want to release it all at once, just do the slipcase with both volumes in there already.
Yeah, same with all the Jeff Johns omnibuses over at DC as well. They're just too big.
Well, except for like the Aquaman and the Hawkman, but yeah, like the Green Lantern and JSA volumes, I would love to be broken up into slightly smaller volumes. Like, my rule of thumb is about twice the size of a deluxe, maybe 3 times at the max. But the second you get any bigger than that, I'm always worried about the structural integrity of the book to a degree, especially with some of the DC that are all glue bound and that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It becomes a tome at that point.
Now, Charlie, the minute we're like caught up, especially you and me, where we're like, we're actually in a pretty good spot where our collection, we got everything we want, and everything's been released, and we can finally take a breather. That's when they're going to be announcing like, oh yeah, we're going to do JSA in 6 volumes. We're going to do all of the Thor Simonson in 2 volumes. That's when they're going to do that.
No, my theory is what they're going to do is they've been doing a lot of these box sets for like the Infinity box set with Gauntlet and Crusade and all those, but they're always the smaller size hardcovers.
Yes.
I think we're going to start seeing those like complete box sets, but with the larger size hardcovers with like the nice collection, and they're going to do it in such a way where it's like, well, I have 3/4 of what's in that box set, but the last 1/4 is stuff I don't have yet.
Oh no!
That's how they get you. One of my guys, he was debating whether to buy that Crisis on Infinite Earths box set that came out last year, and the reason he decided to go for it was they finally completed the Crisis on Multiple Earths. The hardcover's in there that reprint all the Silver Age stuff, actually reprints stuff that was not in those original runs. It reprinted those missing issues, and he's like, that's my cue. I'm selling all the rest of my crap, and I'm going to buy this instead because it's now complete. So yeah. That's definitely a big reason to jump on these big omnibuses. I don't know. There's a lot, and they'll get to big stuff. I think The Question and Suicide Squad are the two that I really am wondering why DC hasn't, because they've reprinted the trades recently, especially Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
With the movie, feels like that's a no-brainer. The Question's an easy one and done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the Suicide Squad, the cynic in me is always like, it's because the movie isn't out yet. As we get closer to the movie coming out, they will look at what more can we release to go at the same time as the movie coming out.
Okay.
And then you kind of have that time between the movie coming out and like the Blu-ray, etc., coming out, that they'll just spam as much content as possible.
Yeah, maybe they'll finish those deluxe size Rebirth Suicide Squad collections.
No, they'll start them over. They won't call them Rebirth, and they'll have different like numbers of issues in them. So you have to rebuy if you've already bought the first two.
Yeah, freaking Jeff Johns Flash.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. I thought there was only 2 on Suicide Squad, but
No, they got the 3 on that one.
Okay.
Final question for the night.
What? Already?
Tim says, "Hey guys, this might be a strange question, but bear with me. Do you notice or consider how some comic books smell?
Yes.
I've noticed some books like
That's
Boom, Vault.
I'm used. When I've been buying certain books lately from Facebook groups, and sometimes they smell, and I don't understand why, and it bugs the shit out of me.
Could be smoke. Could be just
Yeah.
They smell like old people's homes. I leave them outside. I don't even take them at the home. Fucking weird.
Yeah, put them in a box with baking powder. I'll get out some bad smells.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Boom, Vault, and some Image and DC books use a matte page. It smells amazing. It really enhances the reading experience. On the other hand, publishers like Marvel and Dark Horse use a glossy paper. It doesn't have any discernible smell. I'm wondering if any of you noticed this or whether the smell of the book does anything for you. I want to say
80s books from the back issues, and that stuff smells great.
Well, IDW's paper has some kind of weird.
Yeah.
And every now and again, we'll get some indie books that do. But yeah, all the ones with the matte have a very similar smell. I mean, we handle a lot of books, so I notice it more than others. I don't know. Marvel and Dark Horse, not really.
I think if you find it, if the paper stock on the cover is a little bit heavier, or like the paper stock in general in the book is a little heavier, you tend to get a little bit of a scent off of a book. Again, it depends on the matte and the gloss, because the matte seems to have more of a smell.
Yeah. Well, I'm also maybe a little dulled to it because I'm around comics all day, but it must be once a week, someone, usually a little bit older, walks into the store and goes, "Oh, that smell! Books! Oh, I love that smell!" So yeah, no, it's comic books and paper in general just have that pull.
Oh, I'll still take a book and flip it right in front of my nose and go, the scent.
Yeah. I don't know that it's good or bad. But I do notice it. God, there was some company a little while ago that had horrible smelling books. I wish I could remember what it was. And I don't know how.
The one that sends you all the preview books? Is it the weird one that sends you all the preview books?
I don't remember.
Yeah, there's that company. They were like sending you like full on issues.
They did Year Zero, Resistance.
AWA. No, they never said anything.
Is it Moon something?
I don't remember.
Yeah, man, he had like a company that sent you a bunch of like issues to check out, and they're all like random ass books, like a fake cross-gen.
That sounds vaguely familiar. That was a while ago, right?
Yeah, I thought they smelled all funny.
Did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, it does. It definitely happens.
I mean, I smell old books all the time because I'm going through back issues normally. So it's like, yeah.
When I hit a pile of old back issues, it'll like my allergies will go nuts because it smells dust and
being in the store and I'm working and stuff. All of a sudden, I'm like, achoo, and you're like, yep, he's definitely gotten it.
Going through the older books.
Going through the older books.
So much stuff just kicks up from those. Ugh. Oof, it's rough.
But yeah, Toby, if you're having problems with like books that you're getting from other places, the baking soda thing that Ryan said works perfect. We did that so many times with some of Ken's books that he brought back from his fire. Remember that?
Yeah. Just get a
Pour the baking soda all over the book?
No. You just buy a thing of baking soda. You just open the box. Get a just like cut so the top of the box is open. You get a Tupperware, like a large Tupperware container. You just leave the open box inside, and it. People use baking soda boxes in their refrigerators all the time to it absorbs smell, and especially if you have musty smelling comics or something, it'll get rid of that.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll give that a shot.
I mean, it's not gonna if it's destroyed, if it's fire damage or really heavy.
It smells like they've been at some grandpa's home.
Yeah, if it's a really heavy cigarette smoke or something, it's almost impossible. But if it's just a little musty, yeah, you can usually get that out. Yeah. Don't sprinkle it on the book or anything like that.
Gonna make it wet and spray it all over.
Yeah, no. Just leave it open.
It could be taken out of context.
All right.
No email. Let's do an email. Kevin's not here. We have to do an email. It'll piss him off.
We're gonna wrap up now. Thank you all. It's just not a lot going on this week. That's all right. Nothing you can do about it. Short episodes are okay from time to time. Thank you all for listening to this episode. I had the end of episode stuff here somewhere. Where is it? It's here somewhere. Not delaying on purpose. There we are. We have our high tier backers for the month. Please remember to go support all these wonderful people that support us, including Joga. What's that?
Hey, I asked you if they're going to collect the colored Walking Dead thing, and you said yes. But then I read the thing at the end, and Kirkman says no.
In the original release, it said it will collect way down the line. He says they're not going to collect it.
Mm-hmm. That the comic book way is the only way you're going to be able to read this in color.
I do not believe that for 1 second.
This is in issue 1. He has a letter page at the very end where he writes open letter.
Mm-hmm.
And I quote, "If you want to experience this series in full color, you're going to need to buy these single issues. The series also gives us the opportunity to work with some amazing people." But yeah, basically that's why there are no plans to ever collect the series in color. So I guess I'm going to collect this in single issue format. And then if he's going to collect these in color, I'm going to drive my collection of single issues over to his house and throw it at him.
Yeah, I would not believe that for a minute. I mean,
that's throwing away money.
I swear I read that there was going to be collections at some point, but not like after 6 issues or anything. Like it's going to be way down the line.
Because it was how many trades did it end up being? It was
33, 34? Maybe?
33 or 34?
Something like that.
Do you think they'll probably do more ultimate collections where there'll be thicker trades?
They'd be bigger.
They'll be the bigger amounts, but so they don't have as many.
Yeah, I don't think they would do 6 issue trades and everything.
Well, I'm going to be pissed off either way, right? So I'm no matter what I do, it's going to be wrong. If I'm going to collect the single issues, I guarantee you the collected edition is going to come out. And then if I decide to skip the colored edition, I guarantee you the collected editions will not come out.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm just waiting for you to buy the single issues, and then they will be like, well, we're doing the collected editions, but they're only available at this shop or this convention. Or
no, they're only done on Kickstarter.
Jeez. No.
I'm actually more excited. I mean, I told this to Ryan. I'm actually more excited about the last 5 pages. And I almost wish they just collected that into another book. But it's cool. I mean, the reason why they're doing it in color is I guess a lot of people that watch the TV show couldn't get into the black and white books, which I thought it was kind of a weird thing to say. But I see it. I mean, there's people that don't want to get into mangas. So, for them to try and get another audience for the same material, why not, right? So I get it. And I have to say the coloring has actually done really, really well in this #1 issue.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be like Bone, which worked well for Bone, with the really, pastel colors, or what are we, pastel colors, like the kind of faded.
Mm-hmm.
but they did a really nice job coloring the Walking Dead book. I mean, I really
yeah.
color as well. It's a totally different feel.
No, I thought it looked really good. Yeah, that's why I said of course they're going to collect it. Just maybe not soon, but eventually.
I mean, business-wise, it'd be stupid not to collect this and not to collect the color ones. But I mean, I want to say when at first we're going to do this, they announced it that this is going to be single issues only. Mm-hmm. And then now I'm reading the page, and he reaffirms that it's going to be single issues only. And I find that really, really, really odd.
Mm-hmm. Single issue till it isn't.
Yeah, they're going to do single like issue 20. Go, well, this is not selling very well, so we're going to do.
They've done that with a couple books, but they've reprinted all stuff.
If they're trying to get a bigger market, only doing single issues is kind of silly.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to get the more normals to read this book if they're going to have to hunt down number 2, 3, 4
digital.
Random. Oh, I see. Fine.
Digital. Yeah.
All right, makes sense, Brian. That's all right.
Yeah. But no, I would say I would not believe. Well, yeah, I don't know. I find that really hard to believe.
Can you call your friend Robert up and just for me, please? Can you just call him up? Hey, man.
No, I would just default back to, and I looked up the article, and Ryan's right. He does say in the article they will not be collected anytime soon. I don't know what he says at those last, what he said in the issue 1 pages, and if the wording's at all questionable, but I am 100% convinced, like most things, even if he's saying it's not going to be collected right now, 5 years from now we're going to be like, look at how many were collected. So
yeah.
Well, I do know that he does take into consideration how it is collected, because remember we ended on 193?
2.
Was it 190? No, I thought it was 193.
2.
Okay. So we ended on that number because that was how everything kind of fell, right? How they were collecting it in before. So he kept with that. Otherwise, he would have had to have done another 50 issues
right.
or something.
I'll look it up. You're right, Brock. I will openly say it that you were correct and I was wrong.
193.
Oh, it's 193. Yeah.
You're right.
But because in the letter at the end, he basically explains why they stopped at that, because that was otherwise he would have had to have written another 3 or 4 story arcs, and the compendiums wouldn't have lined up and all of that stuff. So I think it's just they're putting them out now, and then they're going to reassess again how they're going to break it down.
Then don't say that you can only enjoy this in single issue format. Don't put it on black and white, right there on the letters page. I think that's really weird.
I agree that's really weird. I agree that it's really odd that he didn't use some term like anytime soon or for the first X amount. Making a blanket statement like that is really odd.
But is it really something that's that bad to walk back?
Well, that's what I mean. There's been a couple of other cases where somebody has said will not be released to shops or will not be collected, and then they always have.
Yeah. I mean, it's annoying, right? As a fan, I'm making a financial decision at this point. I have collected the original run, up to a point, and then decided to go trade only, and then decided to go hardcover only. And I'm at a cross point here where I'm like, look, if this is the only way to get this in color with the extra stuff in the back, while it's not a lot of extra stuff, but it's extra stuff I like to read. If this is the only way I can read this, I guess I will collect all 193 issues, which is quite a chunk of money, and which I prefer to collect in trades or hardcovers instead, much more. And it would really, really piss me off if down the line that's what's going to come out. And
it's possible some of the back matter will never be collected.
Yeah. But I just, I'm not collecting this to necessarily reread the entire series again. The coloring work is excellent, and I really do enjoy actually seeing this again from a different viewpoint. But, I probably would just get key issues and then call it a day, number 1 and a couple other ones. And then I'll probably just get the hardcovers. But, if this is the only way to get it, I'll collect all of them. And then, of course, I'll be very annoyed when they come out with the collected versions. So I don't know. I'm just wondering and annoyed and curious at the same time.
Well, we'll find out in the coming years.
I just really want to see a video of Toby throwing his Walking Dead collection at Robert Kirkman's face. Like,
I would think the backup stuff will not be collected. I think that will be exclusive.
It's not hard to do. He's a super nice guy. He'll probably just take it. He'll probably give it to some kid. Here you go. This fan doesn't want his books anymore. Hopefully it makes you. Robert is a super nice guy. I mean, yeah. But it's just I just find the wording really odd, and I still enjoy The Walking Dead. And I feel like I'm going to enjoy the series again this way. Just very odd that he would say it in black and white. This is never going to get collected, which I also kind of snicker at. But on the other hand, I also don't want to be caught 5 years from now. They go nothing is coming out still, right? And I'll be like, uh-oh. I can't backtrack all these issues at this point. Yeah. Anyways, sorry I interrupted your outro.
No worries. Could talk about Walking Dead Deluxe. Yeah, we'll see what that back material is as the series goes on.
Yeah. I will think of more stuff to interrupt you with throughout the outro. Don't worry.
That's all right. Thank you to our Patreon backers, Joe Duff, Andrew Nelson Mendez over at Recovery of an Anime Junkie podcast, Craig Anderson at craigpanderson.com, James Laws, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum podcast, Jesse Peterson at Comic Book Matters podcast, and Mario Miranda. Thank you guys all very much for your continued support of the Comic Spirits podcast.
Quick question. Did Joe Duff get his package this time?
I hope so. I haven't got it back. I haven't heard from him, so I'm hoping he got it. Please listen to all our previous episodes, Comic Conspiracy Podcast, as where you can find them, as well as geekbox.net and Apple Podcast and Spotify. If you go over to youtube.com/comics conspiracy as well, you can listen to them on the YouTube. Long form questions can go to the Comic Conspiracy at geekbox.net. Also, patreon.com/comic conspiracy. That's what we were just talking about, our Patreon backers. That's where you go to kick us a couple bucks. And if you go to comicsconspiracy.biz, that is our storefront where you can go purchase comics from us and get them shipped or pick up at the store. Of course,
shipping.
Set up a subscription over at customer.comichub.com. If you want to see what we are up to, you can go over to conspiratorBrock.com. That's Brock's blog, video pull list, and unboxing videos. Charlie's Wanderers in the Fourth Dimension podcast. That is where Charlie talks about Doctor Who. And Kevin, he's not here today, but that's all right. His internet was down. But he's got the creator interview series called Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. He interviews a lot of cool comic people over there. And if you're into some artwork, my wife, Leanne, does all sorts of cool art over at etsy.com/shop/Leanne Hill Art. Now, if you're on Twitter, you can follow Ryan Higgins Ryan, Toby XI, Insanity and Chaos, the store Comics Con store. But as of right now, you can't follow Brock Sager. Brock.
I got caught up with
your terrible spelling and typing skills.
It was not terrible in typing skills. It was spelled out perfectly.
Has got you temporarily banned, hopefully, from Twitter.
A tweet of mine, words lined up in a certain way that I think I got caught up in one of the automatic Twitter algorithms, and they just automatically suspended me. So I'm currently in the appeals.
You forgot a word, and the tweet came off much worse than I think you intended it to come out. So.
Well, the funny thing is it works with or without the word I forgot.
Is the word please?
No, it's it.
So hopefully by the time you hear this, at Brock Sager is back up, and you can follow Brock on Twitter. I'm sure we'll get to it soon. Please go and listen to the Geek Box. I'm on that every Monday. I just recorded last night, and I already forgot what the hell we talked about. What the hell did we talk about?
Nintendo?
About the TV shows we were watching.
Not Nintendo?
What's that?
Not Nintendo?
No, I don't. We talked about game stuff. It was all TV stuff last night.
Did you guys talk about the finale of The Boys?
No, I don't think anyone's watched Boys on there.
But there's Nintendo stuff to be talked about.
Like what?
Like, why the fuck can I pre-order my Game & Watch Mario? Right? There's one. Number two is, why can I pre-order my Mario Kart Live, even though for some reason you got it? I'm still patiently waiting to pre-order that and the Luigi. And it's, I think, next week that's coming out, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Mario Kart?
It's super weird.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wake up and go online at Target if you want to people and go, yeah, I'm here for a toy, and it's not for my son, it's for myself. I don't have any son.
Well, at this rate, great.
So I don't look like a normal person halfway. He's like, nope.
I think we talked about. Oh yeah. I know they were talking a lot about. I'm still a few episodes back, but we were talking about Lovecraft Country, which.
Oh yes, that's pretty fun.
I'm starting to fall off a little bit. We haven't seen the last couple episodes. I don't know. Something about that show got a little weird for me, but still, I'll at least finish off the first season. And of course, Manga Machinations. Go follow our friends over there. Manga Machinations podcast. Talk about manga and anime. Good times. All right, that's it. We're gonna go.
We can talk about. Still can't get the pins.
Yeah, the Mario pins. Mario. It's popular. I don't know. It's crazy.
Bastards.
Yeah, it's super crazy.
Come on, nerds, give another nerd a little love.
Yep. We'll catch you guys next week. Goodbye, everyone.